Hello students, myself Amrita Dhar, Assistant Professor of Electrical Engineering Department of Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management JIS Group. Now, I will teach you switchgear and protection.
In this video, I will discuss about protection of busbar and transmission line. This topic is included in Module 4 of the subject Switchgear and Protection. Course code is EE/S5/SWGRP. Busbar and lines are important element of electrical power system and require the immediate attention of protection engineers for safeguards against a possible fault occurring on them. The methods used for the protection of generators and transformers can be employed with slightly modification for the busbar and lines. The modifications are necessary to cope up with the protection problem arising out of greater length of the lines and a large number of circuits connected to a busbar. Although differential protection can be used, it becomes too expensive for longer lines due to the greater length of the pilot wire cables. Fortunately, less expensive methods are available which are reasonably effective in providing protection for the busbar and lines. Busbar in the generating station and substation form important link between the incoming and outgoing circuit. If a fault occurs on a busbar, considerable damage and disruption of supply will occur unless some form of quick-acting automatic protection is provided to isolate the faulty busbar. The busbar zone for the purpose of protection includes not only the busbar themselves but also the isolating switches, circuit breakers and the associated connections. In the event of fault on any section of the busbar, all the circuit equipments connected to that certain section must be tripped out to give complete isolation. The standard of construction for busbar has been very high, with the result that bus faults are extremely rare. However, the possibility of damage and service interruption from even a rare bus fault is so great that more attention is now given to this form of protection. Improved relaying methods have been developed and reducing the possibility of incorrect operation. The two most commonly used schemes for busbar protection are differential protection, fault bus protection. First is differential protection. The basic method for busbar protection is the differential scheme in which currents entering and leaving the bus are totalized. During normal condition, the sum of these currents is equal to 0. And that means incoming and outgoing currents are same. When a fault occurs, the fault current upsets the balance and produces a differential current to operate the relay. Now this figure shows the single line diagram of current differential scheme for a station busbar. The busbar is fed by a generator and supplies load to two lines. Generators and supply load to two lines. The secondary of current transformer in the generator lead in line 1 and line 2 all are connected in parallel. The protective relay is connected across this parallel connection. All CTs must be the same ratio in the scheme regardless of the capacitance of various circuits. Under normal load condition or external fault condition, the sum of the current entering the bus is equal to those leaving it, and no current flows through the relay. If a fault occurs within the protected zone, the current entering the bus will no longer equal to those leaving it. The difference of this current will flow through the relay and cause the opening of the generator circuit breaker and each of the line circuit breaker. Next is the fault bus protection. Now it is possible to design a station so that the faults that developed are mostly earth fault. This can be achieved by providing earth metal barrier known as fault bars, surrounding each conductor throughout its entire length. In the bus structure, with this arrangement, every fault that might occur must involve a connection between a conductor and the earth metal part. By directing the flow of earth fault current, it is possible to detect the fault and determine their location. Now, this type of protection is known as fault bus protection. Now, this figure shows the schematic representation of fault bus protection. The metal supporting structure or fault bus is earthed through the current transformer. A relay is connected across a secondary of these CTs. CT, under normal operating condition, there is no current flow from the fault bus to ground and the relay remains inoperative. A fault involving a connection between a conductor and earth supporting structure will result in current flow to ground through the fault bus, causing the relay to operate. The operation of relay will trip the all circuit breaker connecting to the connecting equipment to the bus. The requirements of line protection are: first, in the event of a short circuit, the circuit breaker closest to the fault should open all the circuit breakers remaining in a closed position. In case of nearest breaker to the fault fails to open, backup protection should be provided by the adjacent circuit breaker. Third, the relay operating time should be just as short as possible in order to preserve system stability without unnecessary tripping of the circuit. The protection of line presents a problem quite different from the protection of station apparatus such as generator, transformer and bus bar. While differential protection is ideal method for lines, it is much more expensive to use. The two ends of a line may by several kilometers apart, and to compare the two current, a costly pilot wire circuit is required. This expense may be justified, but in general less costly methods are used. The common methods of line protections are time graded overcurrent protection, differential protection and distance protection. First is time graded overcurrent protection. Now in this scheme of overcurrent protection, the time discrimination is incorporated. In other words, the time setting of relay is so graded that in the event of faults, the smallest possible part of the system is isolated. We discussed about time graded overcurrent protection for radial feeder, parallel feeder and ring main system. In radial feeder, there are two methods: unique definite time relays and using inverse time relays. Now first start with radial feeder using definite time relays. Now the main characteristics of a radial system is that the power can flow only in one direction, from generator or supply end to the load. It has disadvantage that continuity of supply cannot maintain at receiving end in the event of fault. Now time graded protection of a radial feeder can be achieved by definite time relay and inverse time relay. Now this figure shows the overcurrent protection of a radial feeder by definite time relay. The time of operation of relay is fixed and is independent of the operating current. Thus relay D has an operating current 0.5 second, where the other relay time delay is successively increased by 0.5 second. The operating time of D is 0.5, C is 1, B is 1.5 and A is 2. Now if a fault occurs in DE, it will be clear in 0.5 second by the relay and circuit breaker at point D, because all other circuit breaker have higher operating time. Now in this way only the DE section system will be isolated. If the relay at D fails to trip, then the relay at C will operate only after 0.5 second and after 1 second from occurrence of the fault. The disadvantages of this scheme is that if there is a number of feeders in series, the tripping time for faults near the supply end becomes high. Now in this case it is 2 seconds. The operating time of relay A, which is near to the supply, is 2 seconds. Now however, in most cases it is necessary to limit the maximum tripping time to 2 seconds. Now these disadvantages can be overcome to a reasonable extent by using inverse type relay. Now this figure shows the overcurrent protection of a radial feeder using inverse time relays, in which operating time is inversely proportional to the operating current. With this arrangement, the farther the circuit breaker from the generating station, the shorter is its relay operating time. The three relay A, B, C are assumed to have inverse time characteristics. A fault in section BC will give relay times which allow the breaker B to trip before the breaker A. Because the amount of current is very high in this section, so B operate first. Next is parallel feeder. Now where continuity of supply is particularly necessary, two parallel feeder may be installed. If a fault occurs on one end, it can be disconnected from the system and continuity of supply can be maintained from the other feeder. The parallel feeder cannot be protected by non-directional overcurrent relay only. It is necessary to use directional relay also and to grade the time setting of relay for selective trippings. Now this figure shows the system where two feeders are connected in parallel between the generating station and substation. Now each feeder has a non-directional relay at the generator side and a directional relay at the load side. The relay should have inverse time characteristics. Each feeder has a reverse power or directional relay at the substation end. Now this should be instantaneous type and operate only when the power flow in the reverse direction, that is in the direction of arrow P and Q. Now suppose a earth fault occurs at feeder 1. Now it is desired that only the breakers at point A and point P should be open to clear the fault, whereas feeder 2 should remain intact to maintain the continuity of supply. In fact, this arrangement accomplishes this job. Now it achieved via two routes: directly from feeder 1, via circuit breaker relay A, and from feeder 2 via B, Q, substation, and P. Therefore, power flow in relay Q will be in normal direction, but it is reversed in relay P. Now, this caused the operating current of the opening of the circuit breaker at P. Also, the relay A will operate while relay B remains inoperative. It is because these relays has inverse time characteristics. So current flowing in relay A is excess of that of flowing in relay B. In this way, only one faulty feeder is isolated and the healthy feeder remain in the system. Next, ring main system. In this system, various power station or substation are interconnected by alternate routes, thus forming a closed ring. In case of damage to any section of the ring, that section may be disconnected for repairs and power will be supplied from both ends of the ring, thereby maintaining the continuity of supply. Now this figure shows a single line diagram of a typical ring main system consisting of one generator G supplying 4 substation S1, S2, S3 and S4. In this arrangement, power can flow in both direction under fault condition. Therefore, it is necessary to grate in both direction round the ring and also to use directional relay. In order that only fault section of the ring is isolated when fault condition, the types of relay and their setting should be as the two lines leaving the generating station should be equipped with non-directional overcurrent relay, relay A and J in this case. Now at each substation, reverse power or directional relay should be placed in both incoming and outgoing relays. Relay B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I are set of decreasing time limits. Now the time of A is 2.5, C is 2 seconds, E is 1.5 second, G is 1 second, I is 0.5 second. Now similarly, going round the loop in the opposite direction, there should be proper relative time setting of the relay. As an example, going round the loop, similarly going round the loop, G, S4, S3, S2, S1, G, the relays are J, H, F, D, B are also set with a decreasing current limit. Time limit. The operating time of J is 2.5, H is 2, F is 1.5, D is 1 second and B is 0.5 second. Suppose a short circuit occurs at point F. Now, in order to ensure selectivity, it is desired that only the circuit breaker between circuit breaker E and F should open and clear the fault. Now, whereas other section of the ring should be inactive to maintain the continuity of supply. In fact, the above arrangement accomplishes this job. The power flow will be fed into fault via two routes. First one is from G to S1 to S2 and from G to S4 to S3. Now it is clear that A, B, C, D as well as J, I, H, G will not trip. Therefore, only relays E and F will operate before any other relay operates because of their lower time limit. Next is the differential pilot wire protection. Now the differential pilot wire protection is based on the principle that under normal condition the current entering one end of the line is equal to leaving the other end. As soon as a fault occurs between the two ends, this condition no longer holds. The difference of incoming and outgoing currents between the two ends, this condition incoming and outgoing currents in arranged to flow through a relay which operates the circuit breaker to isolate the faulty line. There are several differential protection schemes in use for these lines. However, only two methods are discussed in this video: March price voltage balanced system and translay system. So we start with March price voltage balance system. Now this figure shows the single line diagram of March price voltage balance system for the protection of a three-phase line. Identical current transformers are placed in each side at the both ends. The pair of a CT in each line is connected in series with a relay in such a way that under normal condition their secondary voltage are equal and in opposition, that is they balance each other. Now under healthy condition the current entering the line at one end is equal to leaving at the other end. Therefore equal and opposite voltage are induced in the secondaries of CTs at the two ends of the line. The result is that no current flow through the relay, and suppose a fault occurs at point F on the line, this will cause a greater current to flow through CT1 than the CT2. Now their secondary voltage become unequal and circulating current flows through the pilot wires and the relays. Now the circuit breaker at both ends of the line will trip out and the faulty line will be isolated. Now this figure shows the much price voltage balance scheme for all three phases of the line. Now what are the advantages? The system can be used for ring main system as well as parallel feeder. This system provides instantaneous protection for ground faults, and this decreases the possibility of these faults involving other phases. This system provides instantaneous relay which reduces the amount to damage to overhead conductor resulting from arcing faults. What are the disadvantages? Accurate matching of current transformer is very essential. If there is a break in the pilot wire, the system will not operate. The system is very expensive owing to the greater length of the pilot wire cables. In case of long line, the charging current due to pilot cable capacitance effect may be sufficient to cause relay operation under normal condition. Now this system cannot be used for line voltage beyond 33 kV because of the construction difficulties in matching with the current transformers. Next is the translate system. Now this system is similar to voltage balance system except that here balance or opposition is between voltages induced in the secondary winding, wound on the relay magnet and not between the secondary voltages of the line current transformer. Now this permits to use current transformer of normal design and eliminates one of the most serious limitation of original voltage balance system, namely its limitation to system operating at voltage not exceeding 33 kV. The application of translate scheme for a single phase line is has already discussed in our previous video. Now this can be extended to three-phase system by applying one relay at each end of each phase of three-phase line. However, it is possible to make further simplification by combining currents derived from all phases in a single relay at each end, using the principle of summation transformer. A summation transformer is a device that reproduces the polyphase line currents as a single phase quantity. The three-phase CTs are connected to the tapped primary of summation transformer. Each line CT energizes a different number of turns with a resulting single phase output. The use of summation transformer permits two advantages. Primary winding 1 and 2 can be used for phase fault, whereas winding 3 can be used for earth fault. The number of pilot wire required is only 2. Now the translate scheme for three-phase line is shown by this picture. The relay used in the scheme are essentially overcurrent induction type relay. Each relay has two electromagnet elements. The upper electromagnet element carry the primary winding 11 and 11A. The upper element also carry the secondary winding 12 and 12A, which is connected to lower magnet winding 13 and 13A, are connected in series in such a way that voltage induced in them oppose each other. Note that now when the feeder is sound, the current at two ends are equal, so the secondary current in both set CTs are equal. Consequently, the current flowing in the relay primary winding 11 and 11A will be equal and they will induce equal voltage in the secondary winding 12 and 12A. Since these windings are connected in opposition, no current flows in them or in the operating winding 13 and 13A. In the event of a fault, the protected line, the line current at one end must carry a greater current than that at the other end. The result is that voltage induced in the secondary winding 12 and 12A will be different and the current will flow through the operating coil 13 and 13A and the pilot circuit. Under this condition, both upper and lower elements of each relay are energized and a forward torque acts on each relay disc. The operation of the relay will open the circuit breaker at both ends of the line. Now suppose a fault F occurs between phase R and Y and is fed from both sides. This will energize only section 1 of the primary winding 11 and 11A and induced voltage in the secondary winding 12 and 12A. As these voltages are additive, therefore the current will circulate through the operating coil 13 and 13A and the pilot circuit. This will cause the relay contact to close and open the circuit breaker at both ends. A fault between phases Y and B energizes section 2 of the primary winding 11 and 11A, whereas that between R and B will energize section 1 and 2. Now imagine that earth fault occur on phase R. This will energize section 1, 2, 3 of the primary winding 11 and 11A. Again, if fault is fed from both ends, the voltage induced in the secondary winding 12 and 12A are additive and cause a current flow through the operating coil 13 and 13A. The relay therefore operates to open the circuit breaker at both ends of the line. In the event of earth fault on phase Y, the section 2-3 of primary winding 11 and 11A will be energized and cause the relay to operate. As earth fault on phase B will energize only section 3 of the relay primary winding 11 and 11A. Now, what are the advantages of this system? The system is economical as only 2 pilot wires are required for the protection of a 3-phase line. Current transformer of normal design can be used. The pilot wire capacitance current do not affect the operation of relay. Next is the distance protection. Both the time graded and pilot system are not suitable for protection of very long high voltage transmission line. The former gives an unduly long time delay in fault clearance at the generating station end where when there are more than 4 or 5 sections and the pilot wire system becomes too expensive owing to the greater length of the pilot wires required. This has led to development of the distance protection in which the action of relay depends upon the distance or impedance between the point where the relay is installed and the point of fault. Now this system provides discrimination protection without employing the pilot wire. The principal operation of distance relay have already discussed in the previous video. Now we consider its application for protection of the transmission line. Now this figure shows a simple system consisting of line in series such that power can flow only from left to right. The relay A, B, C are set to operate for impedance less than Z1, Z2 and Z3. Now suppose a fault occurs between substation B and C. A fault impedance at power station A and B will be Z1 plus Z at point A and at point B at substation B the impedance is Z. Now it is clear that for the portion shown only B will operate, and similarly if a fault occurs between A and B then only relay A will operate. In this manner instantaneous protection can be obtained for all conditions of operation. In actual practice, it is not possible to obtain instantaneous protection for complete length of the line due to inaccuracy in the relay elements and instrumentation transformer. Thus, the relay A would not be very reliable in distinguishing a fault 99% of AB and 101% of distance AB. This difficulty is overcome by 3-zone protection. Now, in 3-zone protection scheme, the 3 distance elements are used at each terminal. The zone 1 covers 90% of line and is arranged to trip instantaneously for faults in this position. The zone 2 element trips for faults in remaining 10% of the line and faults in the next line section. But a time delay is introduced to prevent the line from being tripped if the fault is in the next section. The zone 3 element provides backup protection in the event a fault in the next section is not cleared by its breaker.
That's all from today's class. If you have any problem, please contact with me. My contact details is given on the first slide. Thank you.